right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today, so let's get straight into it here. The first story, Hafthor Bjornsson's boxing match. We're about 3 days away from that right now. So the actual fight, his exhibition fight, which apparently is going to be one of many leading up to his fight with Eddie Hall, is going to be this Saturday, taking place in Conrad, Dubai, but it will be streamed free the next day on Sunday. So you can't watch it live, but on the plus side, you can watch it the next day, and you can watch it for free. There's no charge. So I'm actually pretty excited that they're doing that. Now, in addition to that, Hafthor has just arrived in Dubai, and so has his opponent, Stephen Ward. Now, Hafthor posted a picture with Stephen in the ring, so they're both at their training facility there in Dubai, and a bunch of stories and videos came out of them, kind of preparing for the match, doing a little preliminary warm-ups and training and that sort of thing, so you can kind of see how Thor is moving in those videos. And you can also see how fast Stephen Ward is moving in those videos. So a little bit about Stephen Ward. Who is this guy? He is a professional boxer, and he's an accomplished professional boxer at that. He's got a record of 13-1, 13 wins and only 1 loss on his pro record. And as a boxer, he's actually not a small guy, even though in this picture with Hafthor, he looks significantly shorter and a little bit smaller. He's 6'2", 200 pounds, which is relatively heavy and relatively tall for a boxer, but relative to Hafthor Bjornsson, 6'9", 450-pound world record deadlift holder, strongman, world's strongest man winner, most people are going to look small. So it's going to be interesting to see this exhibition between Hafthor and Stephen here. Now, it should be noted that because this is an exhibition bout and not a professional fight, Stephen's record will not be affected by the outcome of this exhibition. So if he loses, his record will still be 13-1 when he leaves the ring. And for Hafthor, essentially this is non-consequential unless he gets totally destroyed. The main point of this is for Hafthor to build up hype for the fight with Eddie Hall, and hopefully to showcase some boxing skill here, get people excited to actually see him box Eddie in September. So as of right now, that is the update. It looks like both of these athletes are in Dubai right now, so the fight looks like it's 100% still on. It's going to happen. The restrictions don't look like they're going to affect this match happening. But let me know in the comment section below what your guys' prediction is going to be as far as what we see from Hafthor Bjornsson this weekend. Do you think we're going to see some experience, some skill, some speed, something that we don't expect, or do you think we're going to be entirely disappointed by what we see from Hafthor? Keep in mind, he's lost about 100 pounds, over 100 pounds. So at around 350 pounds body weight roughly, maybe around closer to 360, he's still like 150 plus pounds heavier than his opponent, Stephen Ward, and 7 inches taller? So in this exhibition fight, there is a significant tangible size difference. So how that's going to make Thor look in terms of speed, maybe in terms of his power, it's going to be interesting to see because there's a huge difference between these two fighters, but Stephen Ward is much more experienced, and being much lighter, will he make Thor look significantly slower? I would assume that Thor and his team are pretty smart, and part of the reason why they would do this many exhibition fights, they said they have several going into the fight with Eddie, is because hopefully they know that Thor has some skill, they know that he looks good in the ring, and they want to show that off to build anticipation for the big fight. Because otherwise, if they think if Thor's going to look bad, what's the point in doing all these exhibition fights? Because then people aren't going to be excited to see him fight. So logically, I would assume the people around Thor think or know that he looks good in the ring, and that's why they're doing these fights. But I guess we're going to find out for sure here in a couple of days. Now, next up in the news, we are still awaiting the new dates for the Arnold Classic USA, which is typically held in Ohio. The Arnold Sports Festival representative said we're going to get that information sometime this week, but we did get the information for the Arnold Classic South America, aka the Arnold Classic Brazil, which was canceled last year, but has been rescheduled this year and given new dates. So it's rescheduled for October 29th, 30th, and 31st, 2021. Those are the new dates for the Arnold Classic South America, aka the Arnold Classic Brazil. So what we do know about the Arnold Classic USA is that supposedly it is happening, and it is happening in September, which is typically when the Olympia happens. Now, the Arnold Classic USA and the subsequent Arnold Classics that are held throughout the world, this is the interesting part that makes me wonder about the Olympia, because right now the Olympia is not on the official IFBB schedule or given official dates. We were assuming that the Olympia is going to happen in September like it usually did, and that last year the Olympia happening in December, assuming that was a fluke because of the virus and all the restrictions that came with it. But this year, the interesting part about the Arnold Classic South America getting rescheduled for October and the Arnold Classic USA being scheduled for September would be that these shows are major Olympia qualifiers. There's a lot of points earned at these shows. There's a lot of athletes that are qualified at these shows. And if the Olympia were to be held in September, it would be weird for them to reschedule a major show like the Arnold Brazil for after the Olympia in October. So the reason why I thought this Arnold Classic Brazil reschedule was interesting is because it might suggest that this year we're going to see the Olympia happen in December again because of the fact this is a major qualifier for the Olympia, and so is the Arnold Classic USA, and it would be a little bit weird for the Arnold USA, no matter when it is in September, it would only be weeks away from the Olympia, which would be kind of weird. So whenever this week we're going to get this Arnold Classic announcement, I would expect that shortly after we might see an announcement about the Olympia being pushed back to December again this year. Now, next up in the news, Big Ramy. We have another physique update from Big Ramy here, showing what he was looking like 10 days out from the 2020 Mr. Olympia, which he wound up winning. Showing an abs and thighs pose here with the caption, practicing posing 10 days out of the 2020 Mr. Olympia, and he puts that hashtag panic mode, again, in reference to all the people saying he was panicking going into the Olympia and that he wasn't in shape or wasn't ready. Those same people that suggested that he possibly faked his results of his COVID test, I'm sure they are eating their words now. But Ramy and his coaches are certainly hammering down on that whole panic mode situation. They're kind of making a mockery of that, as they should. But one thing I wanted to show you guys here, I thought this would make an interesting comparison because GoodVito, this is a kid that we talk about a lot. He's an amateur bodybuilder. He's not in the IFBB. He's only 23 years old. He recently also posted an abs and thighs pose, and I thought it looked very reminiscent of Big Ramy. Now, granted, this photo of Big Ramy is obviously not on stage. It's obviously not in contest shape because he's still 10 days out. But compare the proportions of GoodVito at 23 years old as an amateur to Big Ramy. I honestly think that his legs are very comparable in size to Big Ramy. He might even have some deeper separation in his quads than Ramy has. His V-taper from the front in the abs and thighs is a little bit more dramatic and a little bit more pronounced than Ramy's, but Ramy's is pretty good as well. For a man of Ramy's size to have a V-taper like that, it's pretty crazy. But I'm telling you guys, from a size standpoint, from a freak factor standpoint, I really think that GoodVito, as an amateur at 23, has a very comparable abs and thighs pose to Big Ramy. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. In just this pose, the abs and thighs, which physique would you guys prefer? 2020 Mr. Olympia winner, professional bodybuilder, 300-pounder Big Ramy, or amateur, 23-year-old, never competed in the IFBB, GoodVito? This is how impressive I think this kid is, that you could put him in a pose like this with Big Ramy, and you could make an argument for him taking that pose. Now, next up in the news, another physique update story here. Nick Walker getting everybody amped up to see how he's going to look in the 2021 season, showing off the impressive size that he has for a relative rookie in the IFBB. He just did his first show this past year, the Chicago Pro. I think everybody is curious which show he's got his eye on next and how he could potentially do at that show. I would like to see him in an Arnold Classic lineup. I think he certainly has the potential to be maybe a top 10, top 6 placer right off the bat at his first Arnold Classic, like a USA Arnold Classic caliber. I would like to see him start working on probably earning points towards the Olympia. I want to see Nick on the Olympia stage. I think it'd be cool to see how he stacks up. And I don't know, depending on what show he does, he could win a show and get to the Olympia. But if I were him, I'd be focused on racking up as many points as possible just in case shows get canceled or shows get delayed and for whatever reason he doesn't win a show. It would be cool to see him get to the Olympia one way or another. And some people say there's no point in going to the Olympia if you don't qualify by winning a show or qualify the regular way. Keep in mind, Big Ramy didn't win a show the entire 2020 season and had to go to the Olympia off of a special invitation and then won the whole show. Ramy didn't have nearly enough points to get to the Olympia off of a point standing. So just goes to show you anything can happen. Getting to the Olympia on points is nothing to be ashamed of. And the final story today, a physique update from William Bonac with a pretty good caption, I thought. So I wanted to leave you guys with this caption. So with this physique update, William Bonac says, "Attack is the proof that your enemies believe in you. Learn to use the criticism as fuel and you will never run out of energy." Wise words from your Arnold Classic champion, William Bonac. So that's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Please give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet already. It helps out a lot. As always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.